Okay, good evening, dear hearts, and welcome to another episode of the Inner Dance Show. And supporting us in our return to sacred flow this evening is the phenomenal Alison Bauer. Now, Alison is a colonic hydrotherapist, nutritionist, and successful entrepreneur who runs BeingWell Clinic in Dundee. Now, Alison has a wealth of experience and wisdom working with the body and supporting people to come back into balance and well-being. And I've had the honor of being one of Ali's clients for a couple of years now. And I have to say that not only do I just enjoy spending time with her, but the work that we've been doing together has absolutely changed me inside and out. And I encourage everyone that I meet to get colonic hydrotherapy if you get the opportunity to. But anyway, Ali, it's so nice that you're joining us this evening. How are you?
Thank you so much, Caroline. I'm glad to be home today. Yes, it's nice to have an early finish. Very well, thank you. I'm still training for my outdoor swim in August for charity. And yeah, just getting on with my life.
Wonderful. So for those of us that are listening who've maybe never heard of colonic hydrotherapy and the sort of work and practices that you do, maybe you could just explain to us a little bit about what it is?
Of course, colon hydrotherapy is exactly what it says. It's water that's introduced into your colon, and it's to de-stress the colon. It's kind of like an internal massage. Our gut and brain are really related. And when we're stressed, our colon can get tight in areas. And a lot of people will say things like, oh, my stomach, I'm so stressed. It's not actually your stomach, it's your colon that's tight in some areas. So when our purified water is introduced, it'll gently massage these tight areas out and give a relaxing feeling to the body, as well as taking away any toxic buildup, any fecal matter that's not able to naturally be removed will be taken out gently through colon hydrotherapy.
Wow, you make it sound so simple. And did I get this right? Is this quite an ancient practice? I just have thought.
It's a very ancient practice. We have extracts in the Bible, believe it or not, where they say that Jesus cleaned his hinder parts in a river with a reed. He introduced water into his colon and cleaned himself out. That's part of the Bible. I'm sure it's Genesis.
Wow, so it really goes back as far back. So I'm imagining it might even be sort of prehistoric as well.
Well, the Egyptians did it, and also in Victorian times, as soon as a doctor visited you, the first thing he did was give you an enema, which is a small amount of water, colon, through the back passage, and that was the first thing that a doctor did to you.
Wow, okay, so this has been going on since the beginning of time. So what are the benefits of using colonic hydrotherapy as part of your well-being?
Colon hydrotherapy will keep your colon fresh. It'll keep as washing out the colon, not too regular, but if you do it kind of, once your colon's in a good state and you do have a practice of, say, every 3 months or every 6 months, or when you feel toxins build up, and you will start to feel it once you've been clean, the benefits are you get more energy, brain fog is gone, clarity is there, you have more energy to actually do things in life. The food that you eat will be better absorbed. The colon is the last area in the body where water and water-soluble vitamins and minerals are absorbed. If your colon is compacted, then you're not absorbing any of that good food that you're paying for. So if you are being really careful with your diet and supplements, then the best thing to have is a clean colon for better absorption.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm imagining you get to meet lots of really interesting people. And do you find that people might come to try colonic hydrotherapy, maybe not realizing that maybe that's the root of their issues?
Yes, I do actually. I get from all walks of life, football players to bin men to, the average housewife, post childbirth. There's a big array that come along to see me. I haven't had anyone leave that hasn't been, oh my God, I feel so good. I feel fresh, I feel clean, I feel ready to start again. So it does that for quite a lot of people. It's a reset, say, of their mind and body, and they think, I'm not going to pollute it again.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so I don't think it's so many people, although maybe we're becoming more and more conscious of the gut-brain axis, or maybe the colon-brain axis. And so what I'm
Yeah,
hearing is that through this refreshing and cleansing of the colon, it really does sort of almost instantaneously affect your sense of well-being.
of course it does. There are some people who will say it takes out some of your good bacteria, and that's true. It will take a little good bacteria. Courteously, at the end of the treatment, I always repopulate your guts again with 20 billion bacteria through 2 little probiotic capsules. So whilst you're in for treatment, I'll talk you through things that are going on in your life. I look at, your stress levels, especially because stress has a lot to do with, well, stress itself. Periods of stress will significantly affect bacteria in your gut. It will kill off good bacteria and it will get pathogenic bacteria to thrive. There are different things, the modern lifestyle, unfortunately, as well as normal aging, will contribute to a disruption of the balance of friendly bacteria that will lead to poor health. So I do a bit of a background on you, a questionnaire, and find out what's going on in your life. And, things could be traced back to, 22 years ago, my mum died, or, it could be grief that started this shock to the system and killed off the good bacteria. It could be that you've started a bad habit after grief, of having more sugar than you normally would. And a high fat, high sugar diet provides the perfect environment for unhealthy bacteria to thrive, therefore lowering your good probiotic bacteria.
Yeah, wow, it's amazing how everything is so interconnected and how sensitive we really are. That maybe not all of us would connect that an emotional stress could compact and put such stress on the colon, and in doing so, then our well-being starts to diminish at that sort of cellular gut level.
Exactly, exactly. And there's so much in the media now and so much online that people are now kind of getting a bit, how can I say, muddled up, or there's so much out there. Clients tell me that there's so much conflicting info. It's good to have things simplified.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have to say it's really hard to keep up with all the new promotional materials that come out. It's hard to know which scientific evidence to trust, and to have such a simple and, as you say, ancient practice for well-being can really reduce stress for.
Can reduce stress and allow you, part of you, to go and do something else for yourself. I love when clients come for their second visit, because sometimes I can't even recognise them. They've put the stuff into practice. Simple things like, it could be as little as trace what water you're drinking. There's not a doctor I've heard in the land ask their patient, how much water are you drinking a day? And
Yeah.
you know how much water could do for you. Rehydration could stop your headaches. It could help with fatigue, get your skin healthy and glowing. Just give you remove toxins through urine, through kidney waste. So there's so much even by rehydrating yourself. And because during a colonic irrigation treatment, some of the water will be absorbed to the places it's needed, you're then leaving the clinic rehydrated. So people consciously make an effort to get their 2 litres in, along with some herbal tea, and they'll come back and they'll say, I've been doing loads of water drinking, I've been really, keeping it going, I'm going to the toilet every day, I feel fantastic. And that's when I'll say, well, you know what, I don't really need to see you for about 3 to 6 months. It's up to you to take control of the reins of your health
Hmm.
and get on with it.
Yeah, it sounds like that people are coming in maybe not feeling peak, but are leaving feeling empowered, like
That's
clarity.
the whole idea of it, yes, to
Yeah,
empower people to take on the reins of their health themselves, instead of just, oh, I'm not well, I'm going to the doctor, and having the quick pharmaceutical fix. People are now looking out with.
yeah, that's phenomenal. What an impact this practice is having on people. And are there many colonic hydrotherapists in Scotland? Do you know? Is it quite a.
Believe it or not, there's only about 4 or 5 of us. There's more in Camden High Street than there is in Scotland. I mean, I've been doing colon hydrotherapy now for 20 odd years, and I've only met another two, three therapists in Scotland that I kind of keep in touch with.
Yeah, gosh, so it sounds like it's a really niche practice, certainly up in Scotland.
Definitely, yeah. There's not many of us. I don't get much time, and it's hard to get an appointment. But it's great. It's great when I see people taking it on board and making small lifestyle changes. It's not about rearranging your whole life. It's about taking on little changes, like the water drinking, like being conscious of cutting your sugars down. We all know now that sugar is the enemy, not fat. We need some good fats. But sugar is what actually feeds our bad bacteria. And then once they get out of zinc, they'll cause things like depression, mood swings, sugar cravings. There's lots of things that could be put down to sugar addiction and bacteria taking over.
Yeah, well, and I have to say, I know for myself that I definitely sort of experienced sugar addiction and sort of a compulsivity to up my sugar. And I'm sure the more I eat it, the more I want. That's definitely
It's
true.
definitely addiction. Well, sugar goes through the same reward path as all drugs, alcohol and chocolate, etc., goes through. So the more it's stimulated, the more it wants.
Yeah, yeah. So do you have any advice for those of us out there who sort of have those sugar cravings and that sugar addiction pathway? What might be a helpful way to help sort of disrupt that addiction?
So to disrupt that addiction, you have to sort of say to yourself, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to actively cut out sugar from my diet. So your biscuits, all your extras. If you eat lots of fruit, try and cut the fruit down or out as well.
Okay.
But you'll find after 3 days, these addictions, these wee messages believe it or not, it's your gut pathogens called Candida umbilicans that send these messages up to the brain. I need sugar. I need sugar. I need bread. I need yeast. That thing. They need fed. So their ability is that they could send messages up to the brain requesting this. But after 3 days, their ability diminishes. And after 2 weeks, you'll find that you're not looking for sugar anymore. We regularly organise sugar-free weeks around the year to encourage clients to just do a week off the sugar. And then once they've done the first week, we say, look, try and do the second week. Actively, we do one of these weeks mid-November, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to help people control the madness of Christmas and the whole, the gutsiness of all the sugar that they eat over Christmas. We've did it the last 7 years. So we usually do mid-November, 2 weeks of sugar-free, try and encourage you all to have a colonic. And I now found that my clients are coming out of Christmas and New Year lighter instead of heavier.
That's amazing. And can you tell us a little bit more? You said something about, is it Candida something? Is that
Candida. Yep, Candida is a common yeast that should live naturally and in harmony in our bodies, in our intestines. But us lucky women, we also get it in our vaginas. And it's kept under control by probiotic bacteria. And they should live together in harmony. But however, under certain circumstances, it will become an opportunist pathogen and it will produce a wide array of symptoms from brain fog and headaches to constant fatigue, constipation, bloating, vaginal thrush, urine infections, feelings of irritability and depression, believe it or not. I find a lot of my clients are on antidepressants because they went to the doctor feeling like this.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctors automatically put them on an antidepressant when really you should have said, a wee diet change, cut your sugars down, feed some probiotic and prebiotic bacteria into your guts, and your depression will lift. Other things associated with it is a kind of nasal congestion, sinusy stuff, sore throats coming back, and just joint soreness, feeling old when you're not old. Getting to the top of a flight of stairs and going, oh my God, my legs, my hips. That's not normal. So you could be suffering from this yeast overgrowth if that's happening to yourself. And it gets out of hand by, well, believe it or not, oral contraception.
Mm-hmm.
Antibiotics, as you know, wipe out, they totally depress all the levels of beneficial bacteria. Diets in which these yeast thrive, which I've just said, sugars and carbohydrates will encourage this yeast to overgrowth. Also steroidal drugs, as in, it could be asthma inhalers, and a poor diet. We've all been students, we've all been young, we've all thought we were invincible and we could do anything we like and we would be fine and not put weight on, etc. And then all of a sudden in life, the weight goes on and these kind of feelings will come over you. But the symptoms are really, really diverse from the candida overgrowth. These little yeast cells are supposed to have fungus-like properties, and they'll attach themselves to your intestines by the roots, and they cause damage to the walls of the intestines, making it slightly leaky and allowing particles of partially digested food back into your bloodstream. And that's it comes across like an immune reaction. It causes inflammation, and you get the symptoms, as I said, bloating, brain fog, sometimes diarrhea as well as constipation. The candida produces lots of toxic byproducts, and believe it or not, one of the byproducts will leave you feeling really, really fatigued and drained. Other problems associated, as I said, your ENT, your ear, nose and throat infections, mad mood swings. For us ladies, premenstrual syndrome, muscular aches and pains, and cravings, constant cravings for sweet, sugary foods. This is all the gift of candida.
Wow, gosh. I'm imagining that there's a lot of people who are suffering unnecessarily simply from a lack of information.
I would say, truthfully, every second person nearly that walks through my door, because of today's modern lifestyle, etc. I'm saying today's, even in the 80s and 90s when I was a young thing, we were encouraged to eat carbs. Don't eat fat, eat carbs. Fill yourself up with tatties, bread, pasta, rice. They won't make you fat, they're carbohydrates. So it was kind of habit, and it's also a cheap way to feed yourself and your family as well. So yeah, a low yeast carbohydrate diet is one that will help eliminate candida, as well as your probiotics and redressing your guts again.
So cutting down or eliminating sugar and drinking lots of water, what else would you suggest to listeners if they're wanting to look at sort of eliminating sort of the candida problem in their body, or even testing to see if they have it? What sort of foods are good for us?
What sort of goods? Well, culinary herbs for cooking with. So if you do cook, and I do encourage people to cook their own food, then you're in control then. So herbs that help kill off this or eliminate this yeast overgrowth are oregano, basil and thyme, which are quite common. You could buy them now, and I'm sure Asda and all these supermarkets sell them in little pots live. So you could pop them on your window ledge and use them when you need them, or you could buy them dried as well. Garlic's excellent for it. Your citrus fruits, your lemons, etc. And believe it or not, caprylic acid, which you could buy as a supplement, but caprylic acid is also found in coconut milk.
Okay. And as a substitute for sort of carbs, what sort of things? Like, is there any bread that's safe?
Some breads are bred for life. Some sourdough bread's made beautifully. Sourdough, some rye bread as well, German rye bread, or just organic rye bread. I think what I'm trying to put over is not to be eating bread every day, and if you are, have some quality bread.
Yeah. Because I know
not just cheap stuff.
I know for myself, bread's a difficult one. And I know that some sourdoughs are better than others. I spotted in some sourdoughs that there's yeast in some of the...
Yes, which there shouldn't be. So they're not proper sourdough if there's yeast in them. So yes, you should be looking for real sourdough and avoid the ones with the yeast.
Okay, so there's something to pay attention to, the ingredients on the back of the packet.
Definitely.
Okay. And as a substitute for things like pasta and potatoes, those delicious foods.
Well, just don't be having them every day. You could still have potatoes, but once or twice a week instead of having them with most meals. Pasta, there's a great alternative now for pastas. They have pastas made with chickpea. They have pastas made with lentils. They have pastas made with green pea, red split pea. So these are all lower in carbohydrates, but higher in protein and fibre.
Brilliant. I'm definitely going to check those out.
They're right next to the pasta on the shelves, only they're across a bit and just slightly more expensive. There's not much expense on them, just a wee bit. They taste so much better and they're so much more filling us for longer.
Right, okay. Awesome. Thanks for the tip, Ali. So, yeah, how long? You said that you've been doing this for over 20 years, is that right?
Yep, that's right.
So,
Since I was in my 30s.
what got you into this line of work?
Okay, so I was ill myself. I'd had a really hard labour where my son was taken forcibly with forceps and they didn't do much of a good job sewing me up. So I had months of antibiotics,
Right,
not feeding myself properly. I was only 24 at the time, so I was reaching for carbs. Uh, I went down to 6 stone 4 at one stage because I just couldn't keep weight on. I had constant diarrhea, constant feeling low mood all the time. By the end of the day, my stomach would be like totally so swollen. I used to think I'm going to humanly combust and there's going to be bits of me found all over the house. I
yeah,
just felt so uncomfortable and bloated. So I started investigating for myself, and I couldn't even work a computer at the time, but my friend could. So we punched in and colon hydrotherapy, what was irrigation we called it at the time, and I found a lady down on the borders, a French lady named Annalise Miller, who actually has wrote the book Too Young to Grow Old.
right,
Fantastic book to help with your gut health and with our hormones. And I went and had some treatments with her and come back to Dundee singing. My mood had lifted. I knew what I was going to do. I was going to cut back my tea and coffee. I was upping my water. I changed my diet totally. And I had salons in Dundee. I was one of the first to bring the tanning showers here, the fake nails, all your beauty things. I was the first in Dundee tattooing on eyeliner and brows, etc. And all of this started to mean nothing to me. I used to think you could put on whatever you like outside, but if your inside's terrible, then you're not going to feel good mentally or physically. I
yeah,
used to say it's kind of like, the present that's beautifully wrapped and you open it up and think, is that it? So yeah, I decided that I was selling the salons and I was going to retrain as a colon hydrotherapist to help other people because I thought, well, there's more than me that needs this help.
yeah.
But after 3 years of continual investigations on fissures, on things that were going wrong in my colon, nobody had any advice. Nobody.
It's amazing.
Not one person asked me, do you drink water? What do you eat of a day? What are
Yeah,
your habits?
yeah,
You know. At one stage at 6 stone 3, I was getting up and having cocoa pops during the night for my sugar addictions.
yeah,
It was horrible and nobody would help. I went to the doctor, and there's thousands of people I've met now over the years, and they tell the same story. They go to the doctor, he doesn't ask a thing about what's going on and with your water intake, with your food, with your life. It's just, oh, antidepressant, oh, sleeping tablet. So I came out with a handful of these and ripped all the prescriptions up and said, no, I need to find a way to fix myself. This is not the road I'm going down. Um, so yeah, Annalise, I went back and was trained at Covey Hugh House, which is closed now, but it used to run detox weeks. It was a great place. She now works in London. And I trained there and it just went from there. Started changing my life, started changing my son's life. So now at 54 and a half, I cold water swim, I run, I cycle. Yeah, I have an active lifestyle that I know I would not have had if I'd have stayed on that road.
yeah. Gosh, your your story is so inspiring, Ali, and I mean your passion is undeniable. And to have an experience of colonic hydrotherapy and then to change everything about your life and your business model and
Yes. And I had successful business, and family and friends were saying, why are you giving all of this up to do that? And I
Yeah.
said, because I've never felt so good about myself in my whole life. And I love helping other people when you come in. I love hearing your stories. I love making the suggestions. And it could be as little as you need to drink water, but not with your meals. You need to drink it in between because you're not digesting your food properly. You know, it could just be little changes, but it could also have been a stressful thing that happened in your life a long time ago. For instance, I had one gentleman whose dad had died when he was 10 years old. And the problems, when we investigated, went away back then.
Yeah. Wow. I
So it's
imagine.
looking at the whole picture
Yeah.
instead of just treating the one symptom.
Yeah. And I hear, like, through your attention to detail, that you're able to sort of map those moments in time where a trauma or a loss, a stress has impacted in such a deep way that the body holds on to it.
That's another thing that I treat loads of is stress. People live such stressful lives these days. And
Yeah.
you've heard me, if your brain is buzzing and your body's running on cortisol, the colon is not digesting food. Your whole digestive system from mouth to back end basically takes a seat whilst your body's burning up on all these stress hormones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So essentially, what you're doing is you're helping to repattern the nervous system, aren't you? You're bringing it back into sort
We're
of.
trying to reassess your nervous system. Exactly. We're trying to slowly, not overnight, but slowly make changes to allow things to reset again. You're right. And stress, because of what I've said, stress will significantly affect bacterial balance in your gut. It's a scientific fact. So even if you feel stressed now, you should be taking at least some prebiotics and probiotic supplements.
Okay. So what sort of prebiotics and probiotics would you recommend then?
Well, I've seen a wide array on the market, but you can't just take anything. I mean, the term probiotic refers to friendly bacteria.
Right.
So, taking that as a supplement goes straight to your intestines, and it will have positive effects on your health.
Okay.
Prebiotics are actually what you feed the probiotic supplement. So, prebiotics are compounds from certain vegetable sources, such as leeks, onions, asparagus. These compounds are only partially digested, and the undigested part serves for food for probiotic bacteria. So, it helps them to proliferate and grow.
Right. Okay.
You can't just eat a yogurt. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I eat a yogurt every day, or take just lactobacillus acidophilus from a health food shop. Why? Because not all products are created equal, as we know. Many people who use probiotics off the supermarket shelf or the health food shop don't get the results they're after because they're weak. They're not designed to go straight to the guts. So for me, I use companies, for instance, Nutri Advanced is very I don't want to say cheap. It's very, it gives good for money, good value for money. And it's nutritionists that work there. And you could actually talk to them online for free and, get some advice of which probiotic, is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because you really want one that's proven to as safe for humans for a start, but as safely goes to the guts before it opens up. Because stomach acid destroys so much. For instance, all these little sugary Yakult drinks and all these things, most of that's destroyed by the acid in your guts, in your stomach, sorry. So it's not going anywhere near your colon.
Right. So lots of people think that they're taking care of themselves, but in fact, it's actually they're not receiving the benefits.
Yes. Another thing is, once you take your probiotic bacteria, you should wait half an hour before you have a hot drink or hot breakfast. So for me in the morning, I'll get up and have a big glass of water and my probiotic, and I'll go walk the dog.
Right. Okay. So
Then I'll
what?
come back and
Yes.
have my coffee.
So if they drink their tea or their coffee too soon after they've taken their supplement, what would happen?
The heat will destroy the bacteria. It's sensitive
Right.
to certain heat, etc. It's designed to specifically go straight to the colon and live in that pH and that environment, the heat that's there.
Right. Okay. That's really helpful to know that. I imagine a lot of people are in a rush in the mornings, and again, they're just maybe mindlessly doing the routine and not realizing that the sensitivity of these pro and prebiotics, and that they have a time period that they require to get working.
Yeah, we take 20 minutes but to half an hour. So, everybody's transit's totally different. So half an hour is really, really safe. But taking probiotics could do so much for you. That'll aid your digestion of milk and sugars for a start. It help detoxify your colon, promote more regular bowel movements. Probiotics in our guts, believe it or not, are not just living in the guts. They actually manufacture certain vitamins like vitamin K, and they also manufacture essential fatty acids, which we need for our brain health. So the guts are not just there to process rubbish. There's lots going on inside our colon that nobody really realizes how much is there. These probiotic bacteria stop antimicrobials from growing harmful bacteria and fungi. They'll reduce sort of swelling and bloating because they'll create beneficial acids and promote a good pH in your colon. They'll also help maintain healthy cholesterol levels. So really, they're just as important as a multivitamin in my eyes.
Yeah, well, there's just a world, it's an unknown world you're describing. I'm absolutely fascinated and just delighted by your level of knowledge and understanding of the body. And it's such a shame that we don't even have this sort of basic knowledge. We're not taught this in schools. It's not part of, I have to speak for myself, it's certainly not part of my everyday awareness. I'm atrocious at looking after my own nutrition. Don't have a clue. So to hear you speaking so knowledgeably, I find it really inspiring.
And try and keep things quite basic though, Caroline, because I find that people get totally, like you've just said, baffled. There is so much out there, and a lot of the stuff suggested, oh, come on, we're in Scotland. These type of diets are, A, going to cost an arm and a leg, and B, you can't find half the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I also find that the more shit I eat, the more my signals get disturbed and disrupted. And then it's like my mouth and my gut have lost contact with each other. And I'm finding that my mouth is making decisions about what I want to eat based on smell and, pleasure.
Yeah, comfort, yeah.
But then my gut's saying, please don't do that. But I'm overriding my gut, or I'm just not hearing it because my mouth is dominant in that relationship.
And sugar has taken over. It's looking for sugar to be satisfied. Yeah. So satiety has changed because you're looking for sweetness to satisfy you. It's never going to do that.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story. Inspired by you, the first 2 weeks of this year, I didn't have any sugar. And the first 3 days, I started to notice that I started bullying myself. Like I was having these thoughts come from nowhere. I'd be feeling great, and then all of a sudden I'd have a thought that would make me feel terrible about myself. And then I'd start to go to the cupboards where all the sugary stuff is. And I realized that whatever was happening was trying to provoke me into feeling so bad about myself that I would take sugar. And I was so surprised at how sort of clever this path.
Yep, very clever these bacteria are. Yeah,
it was
very clever.
I could have easily, if I hadn't been paying attention, I could have easily believed the messages it was trying to send, because I guess when I have those thoughts, it gets its reward. So it's learned that's, if I have those thoughts, then it will get its sugar.
Which is the same thing with alcohol, Caroline, because of its high sugar content.
Yes, yeah. And I don't know if any listeners experience this too, but I haven't had a drop of alcohol for 2 years, and it's definitely shifted focus to now I'm finding sugar in other sources.
Yes, it's amazing how addictive sugar really is.
Yeah. Do you find that that's true for maybe some of your clients, that because I know it's quite a trend for people to stop drinking nowadays, which is brilliant. But do you find that when they've stopped one addiction, that maybe something about their food or their relationship with
they tend to look for sugar. You're right. That's the first thing that the brain starts to look for, this high concentrate sugar, because that's what alcohol is. They start to, let's supplement with biscuits, or let's have a bar of chocolate, which again is not, it's another way of feeding the bad bacteria. But I like to say to people, chocolate, cheese, these things that melt, what do you think it does when it gets inside you? The exact same. It
I think,
melts and sticks to the sides.
yeah, we don't think of that in the moment, do we?
No, we do not.
Yeah. It's interesting. Do you find that there are people who eat foods knowing that it might cause problems? Like, I have some sensitivities, for example, to cheese. And I know
Uh-huh.
that it's kind of like Russian roulette on any given day, whether it will cause pain and bloating or not. But I eat it anyway because it's just so delicious.
Yeah.
So
I'm a
that's,
bit like that with macaroni. I love it. I know I shouldn't have it once in a blue moon a while, and I know that it'll wake me during the night. And I just think, what a stupid idiot.
yeah.
But we're human. We have this thing in our brain that makes us want to make ourselves ill, if you like. It's that addiction cycle where
Hmm.
it's like every human has it in them to be attractive to things that are bad for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was reading a book about dopamine and addiction a few weeks back, and I can't quite remember, but there's the pleasure pain sort of principle that what
Mhm.
causes that it's a way of seeking homeostasis in the body, that something that causes pleasure will then um, have an increase in a pain response or vice versa, just to bring balance back in the body. And yeah, I just find that fascinating.
Interesting read, it totally is, but it's true. We'll all do it. I mean, now and again, I'll have a couple of drinks, and it will just be two well, I think I had two on my last holiday, and I feel it straight away. It affects me straight away. The mind is asking for more, but the body knows that it can't have any more or it'll be really ill.
Yeah. So we're really overriding our body's wisdom, aren't we?
That's exactly what we're doing. We're overriding our bodies for pleasure. And it's momental pleasure, as you know. We've just said it only lasts so long, and then we're looking for it again. It's a
Yeah.
form of addiction. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, we do need to learn this in schools, I'm sure. I wish I could go back and turn the clock back and have sort of a clean slate when it comes to understanding
Me
nutrition.
as well. Yes. And definitely it should be taught in schools.
Yeah, I think,
But do you think they want us to live that long, Caroline?
no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think they're supposed to cash our pensions, but I'm having mine.
Well, you certainly are with all of this clean living and active
I
living
hope
that you
so.
have.
I really hope so. And I just want to encourage any listeners, start tomorrow. Pick up one of these bottles that tell you how much you should be drinking by 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m. I bought one for my son just to have at his works because you do forget the hours
Mhm.
pass and you think, I haven't drunk any water today. And it has a major effect on us.
Yeah.
Pure water will help with pain. It'll help, with your bowels. It'll help your skin. It'll help your energy. It'll help fibre go through your body. A lot of problems I see as well over the years is people have a great diet, they have lots of fibre, but they forget the water.
Yes.
And the water and fibre are needed to go from mouth to back end and clear the pipe.
Yeah.
Without the water, the fibre gets stuck inside. If you've ever had a bowl of all bran or bran flakes and never had time to wash that bowl, you're going to struggle later on after work to rinse that out. It's to be, sat in hot soapy water for a long time. That's what these high fibre things do. You do need water to pass them through.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's so, I guess we're just sort of, we fall asleep on ourselves because we're so busy at work or we're in our heads and we're forgetting how dehydrated we really are.
That's right. And once you're dehydrated, that thirst mechanism stops working, so there's no prompter.
Yeah.
The only prompter you get is for sugar. And we
Oh,
have to remember that the thirst mechanism and the hunger mechanism are quite similar. So you have to say, look, I ate 2 hours ago, I can't be hungry, I must need a drink.
right. So we're misreading or misinterpreting the signs that we actually think we're hungry or we need an energy spike, but it's actually our body trying to get us to drink more water.
Yes, because these days people tend to snack far too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they think, oh, I'm hungry, I'll go. But no, go and have a glass of water, Give yourself 10 minutes and that response will go. You won't feel hungry anymore.
Well, that's fascinating. I'm going to try that.
Oh,
See,
do try it. It really works.
yeah, if I can like resist temptation for 10 whole minutes.
You will. You've got willpower. You'll manage.
So, for those of us that are considering a healthier diet or sort of relationship with food,
Yeah.
when are the optimal times to eat, for example, and portion control? Do you know
Well,
what?
everybody's a different lifestyle and start work differently, etc.,
Mhm.
and age as well. I'm right into intermittent fasting. Where of a certain age you eat in between so many hours. So, for instance, for me, some days I just have 2 meals. I'm 55 this year. I'll have 2 nutritious meals. And
Okay.
I'll eat, I would usually be up a couple of hours most days before I eat.
Okay. And you
Other
sound,
people don't have time to do that. They have to, have their breakfast as soon as they get up.
yeah,
So I don't have a one size fits all. A lot of people, mid colonic will say, "Is this normal?" And I'm like, look, every body that comes through my door is different. You're not a one size fits all, thankfully. That's what the doctor does. One size fits all.
yeah,
Us holistics look at the whole picture of you, what you do, how you feel, how your stress levels are. And sometimes that's the first thing I'll treat is stress.
yeah,
Download a breathing app, Most people, 80% of our society doesn't know how to breathe properly. They're
yeah,
just shallow breathing, they're not using their lungs.
yeah. I'm definitely one of those. I find breath work so powerful.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we're really pinching ourselves off from our greatest resources.
Yes, and most of these resources are free. We have great water here. We could sit and do a breathing app for free.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. And you bring it back to sort of basics and making it so simple for us to just immediately sort of reclaim our health. Yeah,
Exactly. Try 3 meals a day, guys. And in between those meals, leave half an hour and then drink your water.
right.
So
Okay.
that's when we should be, leaving half an hour to an hour to digest our food. And
Right.
then we should help flush it through our system with plenty of water and herbal teas.
Well, that's interesting because I know a lot of people that'll have water with their meal, or they'll have like maybe a herbal tea immediately after their meal. So you're saying just as with
I
like your
would wait, yes, because what you're actually doing, if you drink water with your meal, is you're diluting your digestive enzymes. So digestive enzymes and hydrochloric acid sit in the stomach, and when you chew your food properly and it lands in the stomach, they will finish off the process of breaking that food down. But with age, another thing that's working against us, age and stress,
Mhm.
we don't have as much digestive enzymes as when we're little Porsches, when we're born, when we're really, our machines are working so well. And periods of stress will diminish our gut bacteria. So a
Yeah.
lot of people I see who have been running on stress are not digesting their food.
Right. Okay.
And this could be physically seen through the treatment. So I'm able to say, oh, we're right, you're not digesting your food. I would suggest a digestive enzyme with your main meals. So this digestive enzyme is taken just as you're about to eat, and it encourages the stomach to make more digestive enzymes and hydrochloric acid, thus helping your food pass through your system better.
Wow. You really are a font of knowledge, Ali. I could listen to you for hours. But
Honestly, I've been doing it a long time and I love what I do, and I do want to help people.
yeah, well, that certainly comes through. There's no doubt about that. We're coming up to the sort of the last segment of the show, and at this time, because I'm a big bookworm, I always ask people to recommend a book of any topic. But I'm wondering if there's a book that you love that you could recommend to our readers.
Well, one of the first books I read, believe it or not, is Dr. Bernard Jensing, and it's called the 7-Day Deep Tissue Cleanse. Now, you don't have to do the cleanse itself, but inside there are pictures of people's, once they've cleansed, what's come from the intestines. I mean, it's a really old book. I seen it actually today. I recommended it to a client, and it was, I think it was £2.98 from one of these bookshops. Bernard Jensen died years and years ago, but he was 70 years in the holistic body trade, shall we say. And he treated clients in sanitariums throughout Europe with colonics and diet, and got excellent results. Anything from bad skin to mental health. So his book's a really cheap one. I would certainly recommend that. I would also recommend Annalise Miller, Too Young to Grow Old, especially for ladies that are coming into peri or in menopause. Because there are lots of foodstuffs that help during menopause, and lots of things you could do to help yourself that way. So yeah, that's two to begin. And that was one of the first cleanses I ever did, came from Dr. Bernard Jensen. And in fact, I'm encouraging clients to join me in September to do the week-long cleanse this year.
So for those of us that are interested in that, what does that involve?
Well, there's dietary restrictions. That one is a week of juice fasting, and lots of supplements and cleansing things to deeply cleanse the colon and digestive system. It's called a deep tissue cleanse because that's what it's doing. All the tissues of the body will release toxins into the colon and liver, and then you will cleanse them out. It's the best anti-aging thing that you could do for yourself.
Sounds brilliant. And I imagine that being part of a group really helps to have that sense of peer support, and that you're in it with other people.
What I do is I don't charge anything for, you read the book. All I do is do your colonics and encourage the cleanse. But what I do that week is for people who are a bit, Ali, I'm a bit worried. Right, we'll have a WhatsApp group. And if you need me in between clients that week, I'll pop into the WhatsApp group and answer any questions, or email the clinic.
Amazing. That sounds like a brilliant program. And what else do you offer at BeingWell for those of us who are lucky to live close by?
BeingWell, we have a counsellor, Linda, who's excellent, and we have Carolyn, who is a reflexologist. She also does massage, Reiki, and she makes her own products, believe it or not. She has a license to make all her own skincare and body stuff, which is what I use, because she uses no chemicals in her products, and they're all paraben-free. They're all fed with aromatherapy and, feeding things instead of stripping our skin.
Yeah.
And also, just as I was waiting on your call, I have just discovered a prebiotic toothpaste called Crest Pro Health. I'm just about to order it, actually. I usually use an aloe vera one, but this one helps rebalance the microbiome in your mouth.
Oh, that's amazing. I'll have to check that. Wow.
Definitely, yeah. So there are lots of products coming out. There's even some of the bigger house names that make skincare, making prebiotic and probiotic skincare.
Right, okay. So it's really can be absorbed in all these different ways.
To rebalance, just what we were speaking about, Caroline, is to rebalance instead of stripping things away and feeding the skin. It's to rebalance and get your equilibrium back again.
Yeah, fantastic. And for anyone who might be sort of interested in training in colonic hydrotherapy, I hear that your pathway was like very specific by the people that you trained with, and you'd said that that particular place is closed. Are there training institutes that you're aware of in the UK?
There are two training institutes in the UK. The shame is they're both down south. Everything's in England. It seems to be, we're quite another world away up here. And I fought for ages. I used to be part of one of the colon societies. And for years, I was like, bring it up to Scotland. We need something up here. But there's not much interest in coming up here. So no, I will fight on and try and get us more popular, shall we say. But one of the girls who retrained from nursing to colon hydrotherapy, she actually visited me a few times before she went off training, just to have some treatments and learn more about colonic irrigation. It's such a shame, but the Scottish diet hasn't been great over the years. We've had a heavy drinking alcohol culture, etc. But things are on the change, Caroline.
Yeah, there definitely are.
Things are on the change. People are giving up left, right, and centre. I mean, even the university in Dundee, Abertay, shut its bar. So,
Wow.
young ones aren't going out on and drinking and killing off all their bacteria. People now know and relate the feeling of illness to, heavy alcohol binging and bad eating. I lost my own dad to alcohol. He loved the pub at the weekends. And yeah, there was a period when I managed to help him for a wee while and he felt fantastic.
That's amazing that you were able to help him in that way, Ali. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt good for that in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I can't thank you enough. This hour has just not only flown by, but it's just been so inspiring and informative. And I feel really clear. I feel like you've not only been speaking to my brain, but you've been speaking to my gut body as well. And I can feel like the cells in me just sort of vibrating in agreement with all the wisdom and knowledge that you've been sharing. And I
Listen, keep it simple. Keep it simple. People overcomplicate things. 3 meals a day, plenty of water in between, chew
yeah,
your food, and take a probiotic. That's my 4 things to you.
wonderful. And I know that whoever's been listening today and the future listeners will just benefit so much from your sage advice. So I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish up the official recording. And when I switch it off, if you just stay online just for a moment or two, maybe somebody might have a question or you and I can just say our farewells. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So we've come to yet another end of another episode of the Inner Dance Show, dear hearts. And yes, thank you so much for joining Ali and I as we explored, well, colonic hydrotherapy and how to take care of ourselves from the inside out. Take good care, much love, and happy gut health.